Hi, so in this lecture we will talk about a 2D vector. Okay, so a 2D vector is a replacement for a 2D array. So let me show you. If I want to create a 2D array, so what I will do, I will create a vector in which each element is a vector. So let's call this as an array, and here we have to give a data in the form of a 2D array. Okay, so you can see this looks like a 2D array. Okay, so if you look carefully, this looks like a 2D array. So we have rows, and each row has multiple columns, and this is more powerful because unlike a 2D array, each row can have different number of elements. So this has 3 elements, this has 3 elements, this has 4 elements, this has 2 elements. So each row can have different number of elements. So let us see how we can iterate over these rows and print all the elements in this particular vector. So I can say for int I equals to 0, I less than the number of rows, so that will be given by array.size. So array.size will give you the number of rows, and for each row what you need to do, for each row what you can do is, for you can also use a for each loop. Okay, if there is a vector and you want to iterate over all the elements of that particular vector, either you can do it using indexing. For example, this vector is array of 0, this array of 0 is also a vector. So you can say, okay, for every number that is there in the ith vector, I want to access that number. So I can say cout number, and here I can say cout handle. Okay, so this kind of a loop you can also use here. Instead of writing like this, where we were printing all the elements, we could have simply said, no, we don't want to use this kind of a loop, we want to use a for each loop. So let's say we can say for some integer x that is there inside the array, let us print that integer x. So maybe followed by a comma. So let's build the code and run this one. So you can see we are able to print it using a for each loop. Similarly, for a 2D vector, I have used for each loop for printing all the elements of that particular vector. So let's see what we get. And if you want to update a particular element, you want to say, okay, no, I want to make this element as 11. So you can say, okay, array of 0 comma 0, maybe increment this by a value 10. So you can also access a particular element and you can update it. So let's run this code for a 2D vector, and you can see we are getting this 2D array and the output. So that's all. This, I hope you will find this easy, and from now onwards we will be discussing problems on arrays and vectors.